From Silicon Valley dreams to handloom weaves, that our next speaker's journey. Siva Devireddy is the founder of GoSwadeshi, an e-commerce platform bringing the work of handloom artisans to the world. His mission is simple: make sure the stories woven into our fabrics reach every corner of the globe. And considering he has taken India handloom to 20 countries, I would say mission accomplished with style. Please welcome Shiva Devireddy.
Our next guests went from working at Google to making the planet a little greener. Chaitanya founded Ecowiser, a platform helping eco-friendly brands grow and thrive. He's proving that conscious consumerism isn't just a trend, it's a future of business. And if you're wondering how he does it, well, he has got the wisdom of an NC grad and the patience of someone who's seen startup life up close. Please welcome Ram Chaitanya.
And finally, they say network is the key to success. And this man has built an actual house for it. Karan Bahadur is the founder of Draper startup House India, a global community where entrepreneurs live, work, connect, and turn their crazy ideas into reality. It's like a hostel for startups, only instead of backpackers. You get people building the next unicorn. Please welcome Karan Bahadur.
Now, every great conversation needs a great guide, someone who can keep up the high energy, the ideas flowing, and the speakers on their toes. Vinay Dora is the co-founder of MXR.world and the driving force behind Crowd Product. He works at the intersection of creative direction and technology strategy, helping global platform craft powerful digital stories. And here's the fun part. He's equally comfortable in brainstorming war room and on a stage like this, making sure conversations stay insightful, engaging, and maybe just a little bit unpredictable. Please welcome our Hyderabadi Adventures, Mr. Vinay Dora.
So, how are you guys today? Phenomenal, huh? So, you want to make this, I'm going to set the context on how we're going to create this session, right? So, I want you guys to be as active and as involved in the session as possible. We want you guys to get as many takeaways as possible, right? So, before that, how many of you are entrepreneurs here? Raise your hand. Wow, that's good. How many of you are entrepreneurs under the age of 30? That's a good number, 25, 30 of you. How many of you are from Hyderabad? And the rest from which parts? Bangalore? Gujarat? What other places? Delhi, Bengal, all over India. Cool. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Vinay Dora. I come from a background of media tech. I used to be involved with a startup called Pressmart, then Yahoo in Bangalore. Then I decided to unlearn and relearn. So I decided to quit my job at Yahoo. I lost a bit of ESOPs money that I would have got if I was there for 5-6 years, but doesn't matter. So I went to Sweden to do media management. I see many of you are students right now doing entrepreneurship in BBA and MBA and all of that, right? The experience that I had by meeting folks, so I got to meet the Truecaller founder, the Skypes, the Spotifys, the SoundClouds, all of them. I figured media tech was beyond just content, you know. It was gaming companies, it was music companies, all of that. So I think the learnings from outside of classrooms and meeting people helped me get excited about starting something on my own. So I was involved with crowdfunding platforms, Indiegogo, GrowVC, all of that. And I came back to India, decided to start my own crowdfunding platform called Catapult. How many of you know of crowdfunding out here? You know crowdfunding? Yeah. So 1 year in Mumbai and Bangalore, we realized that in India and Asia, people trust you more when they see you in person. Right? We tried a lot of these platforms to fund startups. It didn't really work out. It worked out more for social causes. Our same investors also invest in a company called Keto. You guys know Milap, Keto. right? Social causes. So they got more interest when it came to crowdfunding. And that's when I worked with ecosystem leaders like Dr. Madan Mohan Rao and others who are out here to create Crowd Product and MXR.world. We may have more of offline, but offline with engagement and ROI for all the stakeholders who are around. So with this in mind, we have 3 of the 4 speakers. You see, you have people from roti, kapra, and makan, right? The basic necessities. I want them to share very candidly their stories, right? And along with that, I want them to give you sort of tips on how you founders, I know many of you are in the F&B, textile, apparel, sustainability spaces, right? I want them to give you like 3 tips on how to really explore yourself in your entrepreneurial journey. In fact, today, Kavirud, the T-Hub CEO, was talking about meeting 365 people, entrepreneurs, over the next 365 days. You know, that was his tip on how to explore yourself and your ideas. Right? So with this, I would call each of these speakers. It'll take some 5 to 7 minutes. Right? So we have, Mr. Siva Devireddy, the founder of GoSwadeshi. You could speak about a sustainability handloom story. How do you empower rural entrepreneurs? The mic is yours. You want to sit or you want to come over and speak?
I am comfortable.
Cool. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Very good afternoon to all of you. I'm Siva Devireddy, founder of GoSwadeshi by GoCoop. I'll explain what we do as an organization, as a business. But before that, a little bit about myself. I graduated from Osmania University. I did my master's from Arizona State back in 2000. I worked in the Bay Area for Hewlett-Packard and then subsequently for Accenture. After spending 12 years in corporate, I wanted to do something which actually has some social impact. That was my passion since I was in my college days. And that's what led me to starting GoCoop as an organization. So before I introduce what GoCoop does, let me ask you a question, right? How many of you are familiar with the whole Prada thing which happened recently? Anybody have heard of Prada? What was the issue with Prada? Kolhapuri chappal, right? Yeah, so they did a design which was like 100% Kolhapuri, right? I mean, that's what anybody would know, right? That's a 100% Kolhapuri design. And do you know what price they were selling that product for? Any guess? Yeah, it is $1.5 lakh. So 150,000 rupees. You know how much a Kolhapuri chappal costs generally?
300, 400.
Yeah, maybe maximum, a good 1,000, you have a range, right? So 1,000. So that's exactly, the problem that, I thought needs to be addressed when I started GoSwadeshi, right? So India, I think some of you may be aware, may not be aware, is home to some of the finest textiles in the world, right? And these textiles are not something discovered in the last 200 or 300 years. So if you go back to history, the pyramids of Giza, which are supposed to be 3,000 to 5,000 years old, pyramids of Giza have textiles from Gujarat, Ajrak textiles from Gujarat. So imagine Gujarat textiles traveling all the way to pyramids of Giza, and they are in the tombs of some of these pharaohs, right? So these are the textiles which are world famous thousands of years ago. The Chinese came to India for our silks. The Romans came to India for a fabric called muslin. Again, some of you may be very familiar. There's a term called muslin which is very widely used, right? So I'm wearing a shirt which is also muslin, by the way. It's a very fine cotton which is produced only in certain parts of this country because you need to have a certain moisture in the air to make muslin. Otherwise, the thread will break. So it can only be done closer to the coast where the moisture in the air is very high. So this is the history of India's craft and craft traditions. Another interesting fact is there are more than 10 million artisans in India, and the handmade textile sector is the second largest source of livelihood in India after agriculture. So agriculture is the largest, so almost 50% of people still are employed with agriculture. The second largest source of employment is handloom textiles. Any idea what is the average income that a artisan makes, and you have to be very skilled to make fabric like this, right? This is all made in hand. So to make something like this, and I think, sorry to draw a comparison with software programmers because I'm myself an engineer, right? So you could learn a language in like 6 months, right? Mostly programming languages you can learn in 6 months or a year. You could become an engineer in 4 years, right? But to learn how to craft these textiles takes a lifetime. You know, you'll take 10 years, 12 years. You have to learn as part of your family upbringing to learn how to craft, how to learn to craft and create these handmade textiles. So with that kind of skill, what's the average, do you think the daily way or whatever, livelihood of an artisan would be? Any guess? 10,000 a day? 10,000 a day would be good, but I know a lot of programmers who are making 10,000 a day or more, but yeah. 200 was somebody's guess, right? Yeah, 300. Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, definitely, Ram. Yeah. So that's good. So see the average, right? 60% of artisans make less than 200 rupees a day, right? So that's less than $3 a day, right? So that's less than what you pay for Starbucks coffee in most cases. So that's the problem that we set out to solve, right? One is there is global demand for handmade textiles. We saw that very clearly with what Prada has done, what Gucci has been doing. There's so many global brands which use Indian textiles. These are really sought after. And on the other side, you have 10 million artisans who are struggling to have a meaningful livelihood, right? And the biggest problem these artisan communities were facing is access to market. Like they're so underrepresented, right? So for example, how many of you are from Hyderabad, born and brought up in Hyderabad or from Hyderabad? Okay, so can you name me 2 handloom clusters near Hyderabad? Pochampalli, very good. I think that's a good, very good response. Anything else? Any other cluster? Venkatagiri is a little far, ma'am, but yeah. Sirsilla is also a cluster. It's near Karimnagar, but something very close to Hyderabad is a place called Koyalgudam. So Koyalgudam is also in the vicinity of Pochampalli. It's a very old cluster. In fact, the cooperative in Koyalgudam was started in 1947. So that's the oldest, one of the oldest cooperatives in Telangana. So these textiles are not well represented, right? Not many people know about these textiles. So the objective was to see how we can create more awareness of these textiles, and not only the textiles, but also the artisans who make these textiles, right? So the idea was, can we bring these community of artisans together, maybe in a certain way. I think we try to do what Karan is trying to do for startups. But these are very underrepresented artisans, right? So we are trying to bring them together and connect them with markets. I mean, especially with global markets. So that's in short what GoSwadeshi does. It's a platform for artisans where artisans can come list their products, and then we take these products to customers not only in India but outside India through our platform. We have trained over the last, our journey has been more than 12 years. We have trained close to 4,600 artisan entrepreneurs and cooperatives in the last 12 years. It's been an effort where we traveled to more than 22 states in India. We started off in Hyderabad and in Karnataka, in Telangana and Karnataka. At that time it was Andhra, it was a combined state, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, and then we spread to 22 states across the last 12 years. We have, as of today, we have 2.5 lakh customers on the platform, 257,000 customers on the platform. We have processed 350,000 orders on the platform so far over the last 12 years. And we were also very fortunate to be recognized as a first national award winner for handloom marketing by Government of India. We've also been recognized. We were also recognized as a champion of change by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. And we are a Harvard business case study. That's a short introduction about us.
Amazing. I think you will have a few people reach out to you on their textile startups as well. I've asked them to ask some questions to you as well. Next we have Chaitanya. In fact, He's part of Ecowiser, and he's creating a more sustainability living with eco brands, right? So I'd like you to share more about what you do.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here on a Saturday evening. So maybe I'll just share a brief of how my journey has been and how I thought of starting this. So I was around 30 years. Before that, I worked at Google and Danaher. In the middle, I had done an MBA at INSEAD. I was working in Singapore and the US at this time, mostly in digital growth and bunch of things. I was feeling like generally just seeing the things around climate, and I was also feeling a little disillusioned at that point in time. I don't generally spend much money, and so I was like, how do I want to use my time most effectively so that one, I'm feeling like I'm actually doing something about addressing climate change as well as having social impact. So I didn't really know where to start and everything. I decided to first come back to India, and then I started exploring farming because I just had a natural pull towards working with the earth, and I learned a little bit about organic cultivation and all, and also in India, most people are farmers, as Mr. Siva was saying, and also 20-25% of carbon emissions largely come from farming. So I thought I spent 6 months learning and then 6 months actually practicing on the field. Couple of seasons I did it. Realized that if you really want to do it at a larger scale, one, you need a policy change to support farmers to transition. And the second thing is you also need more people to be aware of choosing more sustainable alternatives and also buying them. And so I thought, again, my skill set was mostly in the digital space. So I thought, let me see how I can focus more on educating and providing more sustainable alternatives to people to choose. And that's how I thought of Ecowiser, where we started off actually with a browser extension where you would, let's say you're shopping on Amazon or any platform, it would show more sustainable alternatives. I started off with the US market. The primary intent was, again, if you see in terms of per capita emissions per person, US or European countries are like 5 to 10x higher than India. And also, we tend to copy the West in terms of how we live our lives largely. So I thought, let's start there. Let's try to see if we can drive change there. And it's been over 3 years I've been on this journey. So far, done a lot of other things. Then we saw that our web platform was getting a lot more traction. So then we focused on like growing and educating people more on the website of providing more sustainable alternatives. Then brands wanted to like engage more with us in terms of showcasing their sustainable alternatives. Then we built out rating systems where we rate brands across multiple categories, right from fashion, which is our biggest segment, followed by skincare and household stuff like mattresses and cleaning products and other stuff. You look at like multiple parameters. Broad 3 buckets would be something like environment, worker well-being, animal welfare. Again, the objective here was to like make it easier for people to know what is actually sustainable, because there's also a lot of greenwashing, so it's very hard for people to know what's actually good and what's not authentic. So that's where we started off. And then gradually now we rate brands across all these multiple parameters. Our rating system has over 100 data points for each of these categories. And so primarily now we're working with brands mostly in US and EU, especially one, to improve their practices. And the second thing is also to ensure their compliances. Especially in the EU, there are a lot of compliances around green claims and other things that happen. So that's where I'm focused on. So I'll stop there and would love to.
Yeah, I think fantastic learning about your journey from one person who built brands and cross-border to another person. Karan Bahadur is next. He's going to talk about the power of community rock stars, why founders especially need them.
Good evening. I'm so impressed with the crowd that we have for our panel, of course, because being a Saturday, I would expect this high in Bangalore. I think Hyderabad is kind of competing with Bangalore. I think I like that energy. Thank you so much for being here and lending your ears to us. So what Draper Startup House does, so we are an international destination for entrepreneurs, founders, to live, connect through events, and scale the business. That's my one-liner pitch to say what we are trying to do. So think about it. Where does the magic happen? Where does the ideas collide? Where does that energy comes from? It all happens in communities. Communities where like-minded people come together and make that magic happen. Now you get that push, right? And that's where our platform is. A physical stack where people can live, attend events, meet other founders, and we do quite a bit of activities. It could be demo days, pitchathon, hackathons. In fact, we just concluded a 10 days residence founders program in Draper Startup House here in Hyderabad. I think we're just 10 minutes away from here. So we have a living space, we have a beautiful terrace, we have a cafe, we have a working space. Very interesting is the kind of traction that Hyderabad has kind of given us in terms of when we started it 1.5 years back is commendable. And this only assures that there is a lot of ask for these kind of places where startups and entrepreneurs breed. And you need a physical stack, right? A lot of people come here landing in, say, Bangalore or Hyderabad. What happens then? The first thing you need is a shelter. And what better than having right set of people working, living, and trying to build their ideas to make it big. And we are that particular community space. We are trying to empower, thrive, and make you realize those dreams. So apart from this, Draper Startup House has an university in Silicon Valley, in San Mateo, which does this courses twice in a year, which is a course on entrepreneurship. So Tim Draper, who is the godfather of Silicon Valley, feels that you don't need typically these 1 year, 6 months kind of courses. He can squeeze it in just 1 month to actually say what an entrepreneurship means. So there's a lot of immersive kind of experiences, knowledge sharing from the stalwarts, and people who are on the grassroots level who could actually talk to you on an eye-to-eye level to say what entrepreneurship means. See, being in the glass, in the chamber and talk about ideas, and then being on the grassroots or being on the roads and talk about these makes a hell of a difference. I think you have to understand the reality as founders. It doesn't come on books. When you really soak into this energy of people, understand the real statements and problems, is when that trigger and the magic happens. And you need to be supplemented or you need to be enabled. And this enabling is what the Draper Startup House kind of places kind of does. And this is our mission to probably have more startups in India. We are in 17 destinations. 5 months back, we launched in New York. 3 months back, we launched in Seoul. And we have done a soft launch in Kathmandu. And the idea is to take it across India. We are right now in Bangalore and Hyderabad. We would want to be in Goa, Kochi, Indore, Pune, Ahmedabad, Gurgaon, Odisha, Guwahati. I'm talking about these places need these places. And what better than a community place with driven with passion of like-minded people making this magic. So I end it here as well. And I would love to talk anything more beyond what enabling means through communities.
In fact, Karan is a true community rock star. I've seen him from the Bangalore days, from TIE to Construct, a very big disruptor. So since the team is Hyderabadi Adventures, I'd like you guys to ask questions, but let's keep it this way. Let's start first with textiles and apparel sort of questions. How many of you have questions in that space? Yeah. Is there some volunteer who could take the mic and help us? Yeah.
Vinay, what I would suggest is not just textiles, but even social entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
I think something that if I can talk about, I think it's probably more about social entrepreneurship.
Social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Amisha, and my background is from NIFT Hyderabad, and I also studied in Milan, Italy. So I see a difference in the fashion product displayed in Europe and in India. I feel that Indian fashion entrepreneurs don't risk their products much. We don't invest enough and take that risk, but if somebody from Europe or Western country take that risk of displaying Kolhapuri chappals abroad on a fashion runway, then we come back and we complain. I think if Indian fashion entrepreneurs who get the platform of showcasing abroad, they are not taking that enough risk, then why do we cry?
Great question, right? especially Indian designers or entrepreneurs, don't take that risk of representing our own textiles or craft. And why do we complain if a Prada does it, right? That's a question. That's a great question. Thanks for asking that question, right? So the problem is with our designers or is it with our consumers, right? If we like to flaunt Gucci's of the world, Coaches or whatever, right? I mean, I don't even know how to pronounce them. Sorry if I'm pronouncing them incorrectly. But all this Louis Vuittons and Gucci's of the world, I think we are so happy just, sporting them and flaunting them, right? But how often do you find yourself flaunting a Ponduru Khadi, right? Or a Pochampalli Ikkat, right? We don't. So the problem is not so much with entrepreneurs, but the problem is more awareness, right? I think people should be comfortable in our own skin, right? And these are textiles, like what Karan, these are textiles which are designed for Indian tropical climate, right? So this doesn't require an AC, what I'm wearing. This is like actually AC inside this, if I can say so, right? It's so comfortable for our climate. So that's what I think is the change we need to bring, right? That's why GoSwadeshi is more like a call for action. Can we adopt our own textiles? Can we adopt our own, crafts? And in a small way, I'm not saying you totally discard your wardrobe, but when that consumer awareness happens and when there is change happening, more and more designers will be happy to do this. We have worked extensively with brands like Anita Dongre. I think it's a premium brand. Anita Dongre, we worked with Aditya Birla, we worked with Raymond's. I think all of them have tried different initiatives, but it's very difficult to make it commercially work in India, right? And when a Prada or even for that matter, right, Tommy Bahama, we did one small program for Tommy Bahama, right? So it's a normal shirt. Now this shirt in India, if I say this shirt will cost, this is pure muslin. It's our own brand called the Good Loom. And if I say that this shirt is going to cost 3,000 rupees, I don't think so many people will be comfortable with even 3,000 rupees, right? They may find it expensive. They may feel that this is so irregular, right? Maintenance will be difficult of this shirt. Tommy Bahama took fabrics from us. They made a shirt which was $150, right? So that's the difference. The consumer there is willing to pay. Our Khadi towel that we sell in India, in normal Khadi stores, for 300 rupees, people will not buy a Khadi towel in India, right? You want to buy that very nice, in fact, if you say this is Turkey hammam, right? Turkish hammam, people will spend 3,000 rupees on that towel. But if you say it's Indian Khadi towel, we'll not spend 300 rupees on that towel, right? But Indian Khadi towels are being retailed for $75 in US, right? So that's almost 6,000 rupees. So that's the difference, right? I think in US or in Europe, I think, and maybe, even Ram can add, right? The social consciousness is more, right? There is a lot more focus on sustainability. People are happy to spend a little bit more on handmade products than what it is in India. But that's changing. In the last 12 years, what we have seen, we just concluded our event in Banjara Hills, road number 12, and it was packed. I mean, people were just thronging, right? I mean, like it was so busy this time, it was really good. So there is more awareness, people are coming forward, and we must thank all the women customers, right? So 85% of our consumers are women who buy these beautiful fabrics, dress materials and saris. So I think going forward, more designers and more entrepreneurs, I think we'll start experimenting more with Indian textiles and crafts.
Are you also going global? Do you also export your products? Which are the global markets you think are interested in Indian products?
Yeah, so we are an online platform, Vinay, right? So we export to close to 20 plus countries, 22 countries now. But yeah, I can't say the volumes are significant. India is still 70% of our business, 30% of our business is export. And US is our biggest market. And it's mostly the Indian diaspora in the US which buys our products. But in Europe, we have a lot of customers who buy our products who are non-Indian. Like people who buy saris and convert them into drapes in Europe, right? They buy pure silk saris and convert them into drapes in France. We have a couple of good sustainable fashion designers in Germany who we supply fabrics to. The muslin fabric is very popular in Europe, right? Jamdani, muslin Jamdani fabric. Then we have a very interesting customer. It's a designer in Europe called Terence. She is a designer for Michelle Obama. So she bought a lot of Sambalpuri Ikkat fabrics, and these are converted into dresses for Mrs. Obama. So a lot of these things happen, right? I mean, not in big way, but this is very encouraging, and it's very, there is a ray of hope that, if somebody like is buying fabrics and, the former president or first lady is wearing these fabrics, I think there is hope for the Indian artisans.
You have next question? Yeah. Go on. Just pass the mic.
Having in. So I come from a venture capital space, so I have two questions from creation and consumption. So in terms of creation, so my father always used to prefer any other foreign brand to Khadi. My father always preferred to Khadi in my childhood, but I don't usually understand why he's preferring that. Maybe it's from Gandhi Revolution, I don't think so. But after few years, I always have that in my mind that I always need to be in Indian traditional clothes, like buying Khadi or having that Panch Dhoti or something. So I try to, in marriages or in any kind of events, I try to wear that. But it became such a kind of shame that so many people ask me that, why are you wearing that? Why can't you wear a three-piece suit? But it doesn't make me sense that. So in terms of creation, how do we make this kind of Go Swadeshi a movement, like a movement that can grow global, like Elon Musk for Go Swadeshi or Khadi clothes? Why can't we make that? And in terms of consumption, so today also I saw two guests appearing in some kind of Panch Dhoti. It represents a soft power of what Indians are stand for. So how do we go about that in terms of creation and consumption?
So see I want to keep it very simple, right? The change starts from us, right? So, and to be honest, this last 10 years has been a revival of sorts, right? We have seen this. The biggest brand ambassador, irrespective of our political, alignment or whatever, right? When one of the biggest brand ambassadors of Indian handlooms is Mr. Modi, right? Is our Prime Minister himself, right? I think he's been sporting Khadi, he's been sporting handlooms. He started, I wear Khadi. So the government started I wear Khadi, So there's been a lot of, at least effort to make it more popular, right? Amongst people. So that's the first thing, right? I think you should not feel concerned about wearing it, right? So the good part, as I said, is we should be comfortable in our own skin, right? So, if I'm wearing a Khadi, and by the way, I also run a IT, a technology company for supply chain management, right? So I do go to like a mainstream Fortune 100 company. I sit in front of their like VP technology, right? And I'm very comfortable wearing what I'm wearing, right? And the good part is he'll ask, what are you wearing? And I'll tell the story, what this is, right? Where is this coming from? Actually, that makes a big impression on people, right? What you're wearing, if it's different, if it's little unique, right? And you have a story about it, it actually helps you in general. So that's the first thing. We should be comfortable wearing what we are, our own textiles. The second thing about building the brand and building the awareness, I think it's a long process. I think government has done some part of it. There's a lot more the government can do. In fact, as part of Champion of Change program, we were asked to submit a proposal to the government on what needs to be done for the handmade sector. We made a 12-page proposal saying that government should promote something called as handmade in India, right? Like make in India, handmade in India, right? This is it's not very expensive, right? If you start promoting campaigns like that, India has 95% of the world's handloom weavers right now, 95%. There is no other country which has such a big base. So we have to promote this, right? So there's a lot more which can be done to promote it. So I think that's my answer. So I think if we can start small from all of us, some of these initiatives will take time, but gradually I think there should be more adoption, and the intent is that it should become like a wave, right, of sort, where people start adopting this at a much more rapid pace. Odo. Yeah, Odo.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
The way of leveraging. Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm Prasad. No, you have touched upon and already reflected that it's something positive is happening in the country, like they want to make in India, and the intention is very, very good. That's very clear. Like when it comes to khadi and all, everybody knows about it. You don't have to. So the one district, one product, for example, is something very, very something a new idea. I mean, so in fact, states like Uttar Pradesh is, and I heard about Vizag. When he came to Vizag, Modi was saying. So maybe you can just reflect on that also.
Yeah, I think a quick response on that, right? So again, Government of India started ODOP, One District, One Product. It's a flagship initiative by Government of India. A lot of funding has gone into this. So they are trying to build certain crafts in one district. So one district, one craft. Basically, that's the idea. I think it has got good traction. What we have seen, especially in Uttar Pradesh, I think there's been a lot of success stories. But again, sir, I think my humble suggestion or submission to the government or in general is there's a lot more we can do in terms of branding these products, right? That is what is missing. So more we brand, people will feel more comfortable wearing these products. So that's what I would say. The branding part is still missing.
Karan, your brand building,
No, I was talking to Aditya's question that was intended for Siva, but what I'm wearing is a pure cotton. It's how you carry and design. This is Fab India did a fabulous job in promoting cotton. And what I'm wearing, I don't want to promote that brand. It's called Kingdom of White. They just do white, but it's purely cotton. And what I'm wearing also in my trousers is purely. It's how you carry, right? When you say consumption, when you said somebody told what you're wearing. In fact, somebody asked me, oh, you're wearing something cool. It's how you do it. And I think I'm sure what Shiva is trying to do it for the whole craftsman. 95% is amazing, amazing. And we ourselves have to promote that. Right? I think you get your answer.
Last two questions. We have the lady over.
Actually, so I just wanted to give an example or encounter which I recently had. So I stay in Seattle. I also shuttle between Hyderabad and Seattle. So I know the global markets as well. So that Prada thing, I was thinking, okay, Prada was able to create a brand which had a value for it. So how can Indian founders or Indian people can create a brand where we can sell the value? In the sense, I see Indians say that, okay, the same thing which we get for 100,000 rupees. But I say, okay, we should also learn how to sell our product globally and how can we bring a value out of it. So that's where my question is, like, how can Indian founders bring value when we are selling a product? It can be a khadi, it can be anything.
Sure, we'll take the second question.
Evening, sir. So regarding the global platforms like Met Gala, recently we have seen Diljit Dosanjh have represented Punjabi culture and Sikh identity, and he also made the history of wearing a first Indian to wear a turban man. So how can these platforms can be leveraged to protect and promote Indian handlooms and traditional craftsmanship by through celebrity endorsements or celebrity representation in this global fashion stage?
So we'll take like final comments based on the questions with some takeaways from Hyderabad for the world.
So regarding this brand building, I've also worked with some of the sustainable brands, and they are actually able to like charge a more premium. I think in India, people who only focus on the India market, they've kind of struggled, pure sustainable brands because of the price points, because in India, most people, again, they are not thinking about their purchases. They are only thinking of the brand, or they just look at the design and they'll buy. How many of you ever, when you made a purchase, are asking, was the person who made the garment paid a fair price? Was this grown with like chemical free, or is it safe for my skin? Most of us are wearing polyesters, we are literally wearing plastic on your body. How many of us are ever thinking about that? Very, very few people are thinking about this. Why I'm bringing all this up is, if brands that have been successful, like one example I can say is No Nasties, if you're aware, is like they also sell abroad. They have very good brand story. I mean, like this, if you're able to like clearly communicate to the end user, like one about the material, the other is fair practices, and also if some people also care about animal cruelty, and also these aspects, if you're looking at all of this, especially outside the country, you will find a lot more success because people look at some of these parameters when they shop, especially in EU. In India, if you are planning to start, also look at international markets, especially if you're planning to do like an apparel or like an alternative. The thing is, when you mention Prada and all this, the thing is, people are not really paying for the quality of the product. They're just paying for a label. And for the label, if you want to get there, you have to invest a lot into brand building and very good storytelling. That's how you can probably differentiate. So it's a very marketing-heavy activity you'll have to involve yourself in. So that's one way to do it. If you want to have more of a niche brand, then you should probably look at the European market and potentially maybe US as a second market. That's where it's easier to sell there. Here, I've also mentored some of these sustainable brands. Some of them have to shut shop because it's very hard to sell here. That's what I've observed.
Okay. On the platforms, I think I completely agree that platforms can play a big role in building these organizations, right, and brands. And today, I see a lot of entrepreneurs. GoCop was like little bit, started a little early, right? Amazon was not there in India when GoCop started. So e-commerce was still very nascent when we started in 2011. So, but in today's day and age, social media will play a big role, like especially Instagram, storytelling is of paramount importance. And not only entrepreneurs, but we see a lot of artisans, right, who are not even very educated, but they are able to use WhatsApp and Instagram very effectively. And that's the power of these platforms, that it can play a very important role. Without even a website, without even a shop, people are able to create good market for their products just through these platforms.
I'll give the final word to the offline platforms. You spoke on online, we have offline platforms. Over to Karan.
I think to answer to both of my panelists, Ram and Siva, you need community like us, right? Right, the enablement happens there. Think about the textile people who are in the eco-friendly and talking about sustainability. If you create these communities, which kind of comes there, mingles, the intersection of these minds collide and the empowerment can happen there. But you need a place, right? And that's exactly what I thought way back in 2016, that a community can play important and a very impactful kind of enablement, right? And that should happen, that we can, right now we are talking about just technology. When you say startup, it inclines and tilts towards technology. But if you start parallelly create communities for these people, they also can come here, talk about it, get some inspiring stories, talk about the trends that's happening globally, talk about what is disrupting in this particular, we can adapt that, right? So one of the questions also was that designs. So of course, the same thing we can probably up us, and then do these designs where people are comfortable in your own skins and make yourself proud. And that should be the make in India or handmade in India story that should go across the globe, right? A weekend happening, I think the 2 decades is going to be the decades for India. I think we should all focus on that and make it happen. I think everybody should be part of this kind of empowerment that you should happen for yourself and around you. So I feel communities like us can create amazing impact.
Fantastic. I think with this, I'd like to conclude. How many of you would like to be influencers of these brands? Let's all become influencers of these brands and make it go global and across India as well. Great. Thank you so much. Yes. So I see the next speaker waving his hand, Dr. Shrikant, investor. With this, we will keep the hotline with the speakers going on. Whether online or offline, we have the Draper space and we have Bangalore and Hyderabad. For those of you who want to connect with them, do reach out through the organizers and we'll make it happen for you. Thank you very much. We will keep in touch. Thank you for your time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hello, Dharni. Hello.